Got a lot. I got an awful lot to say. I mean, a lot. Bill the Drone Reviewer here. If you like the content of this video or anything on my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night, I had the privilege of being a guest on ZinoNation, co-hosted by Ron Braun and Marcus Crawford. The part of the evening that I was on, we discussed the Fimi X8 SE 2020. We had an in-depth discussion and looked at my experience so far with the Fimi X8 SE 2020. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety.
Okay, with no further ado, we have a big name guest waiting backstage here, and what he's going to come on tonight is talk about. He is one of the first people in the U.S. to receive the new Fimi X8 SE 2020. And not only was he the first one to do, but he's among the first group, but he actually received one that works well and flies well. So with no further ado, direct from sunny Tampa, Florida, it's Bill the Drone Reviewer. Play the music, Marcus.
Where's the special guy at? I don't know. Where is he? I'm here, but I don't know where this guy is you're talking about, Ron. But I'll substitute for him.
Okay.
Bill, you're our new Fimi X8 SE expert, man.
Oh God, you guys are in serious trouble.
You're the guru.
Well, first of all, here it is in all its glory. Okay. Got a lot. I got an awful lot to say. I mean, a lot. Actually, I've taken 3 flights with it.
Oh, but I don't want to catch up, but I want you to start from the beginning. Now, what day did you receive it, and what kind of condition was it in when you received it? How was it? Give us the whole delivery process and the unboxing. Just the snap.
Maybe your whole order fiasco too.
Yes,
the short version.
I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. Absolutely.
This is a family show too, by the way.
That's right. This is family. We're not going to use the 4 letters here. So, when I ordered it, of course, off of Banggood, and I got the great discounted price, and then I got the email that it was delayed and all that stuff. And then I had seen several people who had ordered theirs directly from China already get theirs. So I didn't cancel my first order. I ordered directly from China. Now I paid a little over $400. I think it was about maybe $420 or so. And it wasn't with more than, I would say, 10 days after I ordered it, I got it. Okay. And I got it last week. Now, the day that I had my live stream was the day that I got it, because I told Valerie, I said, I'm not waiting. I'm going out and doing my live stream. And I think you could see the box that I had was damaged big times. And one of the things you could see is the indentations from the top of the motors. Okay. You could see that in the box lid. And I was like, okay, this isn't good. Okay. Because, I was used to, and I got educated because the ESCs on the Fimi, they're in the main board. They're not beneath the motor like they are on DJI products. So I got an education, and I want to thank Ryan Duval for that. Well, anyway, all right. So I checked it out thoroughly, looked good, fired it up, got everything charged up and everything. And first issue I had was getting an FPV view, and I'm like, what's going on here? Well, that cable is pretty particular. All right. The cable to my phone. Now I took my phone case off when I put it on there, and by the time I ended up getting it figured out. So firmware update right away. Boom. Did that. I calibrated the gimbal. Okay. That was one of the things I just, I knew from Marcus's experience. I said, I'm going to do that right away. I also formatted the SD card, so we didn't have any problems with that. And then when I went outside, now I had a real interesting not really an error, VPU and what its vision positioning, and it needed more light. So what I did was because I had the gimbal, pointed kind of toward down, I pointed it up. As soon as I pointed it up, that error went away and I was fine. Okay. I was good to go with that. And then I'm like, okay, I get it up for my first flight. No issues whatsoever. no horizon tilt issues. Okay. It was perfect. I had absolutely no issues. Came back. No, it was just out and back. I just wanted to get a short flight in, 4K 30. It looked great. Go ahead.
Bill, I'd love to hear your impressions of the flight controls, because I know you fly a lot of DJI drones, and of these, I don't know, this class of mid-price drones, whatever, I always thought that the Fimi had pretty good flight controls. Now, not DJI quality, but pretty darn good compared to like the Hubsan products, etc. What was your impression?
Before Bill answers that, could you answer Sam Burns' question real fast?
Yes, Sam. That's a Sunny Life, the gimbal cover.
Thank you, Bill.
Yes. Okay. Which I got on Amazon. I have another one coming from China, but anyway. Now I took it out yesterday, and I wanted to get the test I wanted to do was I wanted to do a battery test in terms of, I don't do a battery test where it's sitting up there and, I'm just, have a stopwatch on and counting it down, because I don't think that's real. I want real world. My real world is I was going to fly around the four corners of the lake until it said, come home. Okay. And I wanted to see how long I got. Well, as soon as I got that bad boy up yesterday, it started to rain. I mean, you're in Florida. Okay. Rain happens. You look on one side, it's bright sun. The next over it's rain. And you could see in the video I'm going to publish on it. I did it in 1080p just to get a look and see what 1080p would be like. And then I booked it back, and I got back before it started to pour. So I kind of lucked out with that. Well, tonight, okay, after work, after dinner, had time before the show. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that battery test. Plenty of time. Weather's great. No problems. Get it up here. Okay. Now, before I do that, there's another firmware update, guys. All right. All right. And it was a camera update, and it was a flight controls update. Well, wouldn't you know? Let me share my screen, if that's okay, Ron.
You go right ahead, Bill.
And I was going to say, anybody that already has the older version of the Fimi is used to a lot of firmware updates. They push about, I think, even more than Hubsan does. But they are painless on the Fimi too. They just.
All right. Now this is at the edge of the lake. Now watch when I'm going to turn it to point to the other end of the lake. I want you to watch what happens here when I turn it. Now that was just a little, and it just went like crazy. So I tried to go back.
Horizon issue, yep.
Yeah, I'd try to go back a little slower. Okay. And okay, I'm starting to get the hang of it there. But look at what you see right here. Look at the horizon. Okay. Okay, it's definitely out of whack. You can see there's more here than there's more there.
Yeah, it was more evident a little earlier in the video, but yeah, absolutely.
And one of the other things is I took several pictures. Now
there it was really evident. Yeah. Yeah,
you can see it here. Now, was really funny, where it became very evident is, and when it became evident was when I was yawing. Okay. And let's go ahead. I want to bring some of these pictures up too.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now that's just a picture that I took, and that was from the same spot as before, so you can see the horizon issue there. Now this one actually looked pretty straight and pretty decent. Now this is the same flight, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now look again, okay? I'm back. This is my second lap around, and you can see how much it's gone over there. Now I want to show you the last part, the last bit, yeah, right here. It's this. Look at the tilt here. This is when I did a return to home here, okay? And look at the horizon tilt here. I mean, it's just like freaking off the charts.
That is so disappointing. I mean, that just makes me heartsick. I don't.
And I'm gonna. it just, I was, yeah, I agree, Marcus. It was the same way for me too. And, you know, one of the things that I noticed was the horizon tilt issue didn't become readily apparent until I was yawing. Okay. I mean, it was slightly when I started out, but boy, when I yawed, it just pronounced itself and said, hello, I'm here. Okay. And in a large way. I mean, a very large way.
So Bill, what you experienced there is almost identical to what I experienced on the 2018 version. And what happens is you'll make that yaw and it'll get crooked. But then if you leave it, it'll slowly come back, very slowly. Or you can bank it back and forth a little bit, and sometimes that'll bring it back. But it's really weird.
Now, I didn't have this my first 2 flights, okay? You know, the other day and then yesterday, I did not have this. And then there was that firmware update today, okay?
Which you could draw that conclusion pretty easily that it has to do with that.
Yeah, I really think it had to do with that. Now, there's a gentleman over in England, and Gary Purcell, I think is his name, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name. He's had it. And one of the things that he did, and I saw this, and I kind of tried it. I don't have a level. What he did was he got a level out, and he put it at the edge of the table, and he measured, I don't know, like 6 or 7 inches, and put the Fimi down there, and then he adjusted the XY coordinates on the gimbal, okay, and lined it up. I kind of did that. I had a pretty straight box, about 10 inches big, so I kind of used that, and I kind of did that. Yeah, Sam, it was worse after the firmware update. I mean, I can say that. I mean, there's just no question, because, you know, it's like my first 2 videos. I'm just like, okay, the video quality to me was on par. You know, it was reminiscent of a DJI product. Maybe not a Phantom 4 or a Mavic 2, like, you know, probably a Mavic Mini kind of quality. Okay, but the quality was there nonetheless. Okay, it was, the bang for the buck was really there. I was super excited.
It was acceptable.
Yeah, it was very acceptable. I mean, it's like I have Valerie come in and take a look at it, and she's like, "Wow, it looks good." You know, to a casual observer. I mean, you know, to us who've been watching it for a while, we can kind of sort of tell the differences there. All right. Now, one of the other things that I noticed too, and I want to make everybody aware of this. Now, I had seen some. I got to say this. I got that group. You need to, if you're owning a Fimi X8 SE 2020 or going to join that group, there has been some fantastic discussions going on in that group. And one of the things that I was made aware of, and I experienced it tonight, was somebody told me that they don't have a fan in the 2020 version. They do in the 2018 version. Okay. So I go to pick it up after its flight. I about burned my hand. It was hot. I mean, it was white hot. Okay. And then
how hot was it outside the day you were flying, Bill?
It was like, by the time I was flying, it was probably in the 90s going into the 80s. I mean, it was
normal for you.
Bill, that's identical with the 2018. Like on any kind of a warm day, you be careful picking that thing up because it's blazing hot.
Well, guess what? So were the motors too, because I was folding it back up and I touched the motors. I was like, wow. I mean, it was like pull your hand away. Wow. I mean, it really was. It was really hot. But
so, I see you out there with a glove on in the summertime. I'll know why.
Yeah, it's not like I'm doing Michael Jackson.
Not Michael Jackson, right?
No. Well, you know, one of the things, and I want to say this. You know, Marcus was asking about the controls. Okay, now I think the control that's absolutely spot on for me was, well, I'll break this up into 2 parts. You know, when I'm going up in altitude, I mean, I was able to get it exactly at 100 feet. Okay. I had no problems doing that. And then through the course of my flying around the lake, I did 2 laps. It held at 100 feet. There was no deviation from that at all, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. You know, and then if I'm going straight on this, okay, it's not gonna, you know, like the Zino 1 was doing this on me, kind of a thing. Okay, it pretty much stayed on that line. All right. I think you guys probably know that too. That impressed me. Okay. Because, you know, thinking about the quality, the bang for the buck. I'm kind of going, no, Sam, I didn't get any overheating warnings in the app, none whatsoever. And people said, be aware of that. And apparently there is a fan on the 2018 and there's not on a 2020. Somebody had mentioned that in the group, and I wanted to make sure of that. One of the other things that I noticed too, and I have a working theory here. Okay. I really think, and I've tried the return to home and the precision landing, it was going to be 15 feet off, if anything. All right. All 3 times I was going to land, and I had to abort and land manually. All right. I think a lot of it has to do, you guys have seen my backyard hundreds of times. All right. It's a pretty confined space. There's not a lot of room in there. Okay. I think in order to recognize that pattern that it needs to recognize, it needs to be a wide open area. It needs to be kind of uniform. Okay. Realizing, taking into account, DJI and, their precision landing is it's pretty much spot on, that you match up the picture, it adjusts itself. It's almost spot on all the time. Okay. But with this, it's kind of like potluck. And I've seen Marcus's videos on it. And it's like Mark, it's like going to Vegas and rolling your dice. You don't know what you're going to come up with at different times. And I know the one thing I did notice with Marcus though, when he moved out to the asphalt and took took the landing pad out there, it hit on the mark. And I think, for some reason that color probably makes a difference for it. I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason, but for me, it's like, I'm just going to fly back manually if I fly in the yard anymore, because and even then it's kind of dicey landing for me, because you have to realize, I don't have a lot of room because, I got the 2 trees, and I have maybe a usable 20, 30 feet where I can really land the drone. Otherwise, I'd land it on top of the hot tub, or I'd be too close to the house, and, bad things could happen. And I don't want that. So I'm probably gonna take it out to the soccer field down by the church, down by us, and probably do a lot more testing down there, because it's too confined here. It really is.
You're allowed to go to like public parks and stuff like that again in Florida.
Yeah, we're kind of our restriction. They're like loosening up on restrictions down here, which is kind of nice. Valerie's going back to work in 2 weeks. She's not real crazy about that, but she's heading back to work in 2 weeks. So, for me, we're still under work from home for a while. So that's definitely good news. But, for being able to get out and about, they're kind of loosening up on that. So, and I know the times to be able to go there, because it's a soccer field behind a church. Like Saturdays is not the day to go. Okay. But now there's no soccer right now. There's no organized sports. So I can really pretty much go anytime. So that's not an issue. And it's a pretty big area, which is nice. And that's something I want to do, is I want to test that precision landing. And I also want to go through their drone and asteroid and all that kind of stuff. I want to test those out, the follow me functions on there. But I have to say this, and this is one thing that I have to, and I'm kind of loosely comparing it to the Zino, is number one, I really like the app on this. Okay. I think the app is head and shoulders above Hubson's, what Hubson uses for the Zino. Okay. And it's definitely on par with a DJI kind of app. I really like it. It's not too deep. It's not too complicated. It's fairly easy to find stuff. And I like the coloring in the background and everything. They make it so it's real easy to see stuff on there. I had no problem finding anything. And that controller, it's my second favorite controller besides the smart controller. Okay, that thing is phenomenal. I absolutely love it. Fimi hit a home run with that. They just knocked it out of the park. It's nice. It's easy to fit my phone in. Yeah, and what I like about it is, on my phone, the buttons are on the side. Okay. Now, if I go to put it in the Mavic Air 2 cradle, my buttons are on the bottom, and, I kind of got to reach around to get them and stuff to turn the screen on. So, I don't have to do that on this. So that's definitely a nice thing. I'm really enjoying that.
Hey, Bill, I want to make sure you know your mini will fit in there too. Your iPad mini.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was gonna. That's one of the things I was gonna try too. I was gonna take the mini out of its case and put it in there.
And the Mini 4 worked perfectly with the Fimi X8 SE. Of course, I haven't tested 2020, but the 2008 edition, it worked perfectly. And I think you could even screen record at the same time, as long as you went to use a precaution where you rebooted your Mini before you flew, so it turned off all the background stuff going on.
Yeah, that's what I normally do. That's always Rick Smith said that's the first thing you need to do if you're using your tablet is to and iPhone, you shut off all your other background apps, everything, shut it down. And I do that all the time, and that's made a big difference.
Hey, but before we move on too far, and I know this is we're going to call this your early review, but and I don't know what scale Bill the Drone Reviewer uses, whether you use 1 to 10 or 1 to 5. What on the Bill the Drone Reviewer scale do you give the Fimi X8 and again this is the early review?
So
I'm
far,
gonna give it a B+ right now.
Okay.
There's a lot of positives on this drone. I think the horizon tilt thing, I think that's a very easy solvable problem. I mean, if I have to roll back and update, I mean, I have no idea how to do that.
It may be an easy solvable problem, but one that hasn't been easily solved for a whole year, though.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that you can solve. I mean, the only other drone that I had that had this kind of an issue was the Autel X-Star Premium. Okay, had notorious horrible horizon issues. Okay, it's absolutely horrible, and they did their best, and they sort of got it corrected. So it was kind of dicey there, but I think this is an easy fix for them. But be that as it may, I'm going to try to maybe roll back the firmware, because I don't see it said flight controllers. Now, I can tell you this, when I used the yaw the other day and I tried it a little bit yesterday, it wasn't going like I just moved it just a little bit today. When you saw that wild swing, I was just moving it just like that. It just went whoom. And then I tried to go back and I was like, oh, so I mean, really had to pinch that thing and be real precise with it. And I didn't have to do that the other day. So
Bill, I cannot remember if there's an adjustment for that yaw rate. I think there is.
I think there is too. I saw something when I was going through the menus.
The other thing that I want to tell you is so sport mode is available within the menu, and it's a separate little slider. Now this is weird, but now if you want to go into tripod mode, you go into the intelligent flight modes to find that. So I did see that. I did see both of those, and that's one of the other things that's on my bucket list of things to do with that is to do sport mode and also to do tripod mode as well. But it was the speed on that. It's around 22 miles an hour, which I think that's a good speed. And the other thing I have to say is this: one thing I was impressed with was the battery life on it. Okay, because I made 2 good solid passes around the lake. And also too, my range, I'm kind of limited because I don't fly over houses, because everybody's saying, you can do a range test. And I said, well, I live in suburbia. So now I was able to get it. It's a total of about 3,000 feet out, my furthest point away from me. That FPV view was fine. It was crystal clear. No transmission problems whatsoever. The connection was rock solid. So yeah, I would say that is definitely something that is a plus on this drone. I mean, that view was just rock solid. So that was definitely a good thing. Now the pictures, one of the other things that I wanted to talk tonight was I decided to go ahead and take some pictures because I hadn't used that yet. And overall, the thing I'm impressed with is I haven't really touched anything in terms of the settings to mess around with, like white balance or brightness or just anything, changing the speeds on it. I did 4K 30 on the first video. Now on the one I did yesterday, I did it in 1080p because I wanted to see and I want to be able to compare the differences. And
a lot of people say, Bill, you're always over that lake. And I said, well, you know what? And you know what the good thing is? Okay. And this is a good thing about that. It gives me a baseline to compare to all the time. Okay. Because I make that straight shot out and it's straight shot back. All right. I have hundreds of videos with that, and I can compare that back to the Spark if I wanted to do that. Okay. And to take a look at the quality of that. So, I mean, I can put those clips together and to be able to see things like that. So
good for comparisons, yeah. Hey,
exactly.
Dan Burns has a quick question for you so we can move on. He says, can you adjust the exposure with a Fimi?
Yes. In fact, it's right on the wheel on the side.
Yeah, it's on the side.
Just like the Mavic 1 and 2 series has.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't mess with that. Now, one of the things about the color palette, and you notice, and one of the things you can notice was if you look up in the very first portion of the sky in there, it's just has just the tad bit slight, I'll call it pink. Okay. I mean, but you have to really look pretty hard to see it, but it's there. It's like a pink color. But it's a very muted, diluted kind of a pink. But otherwise, looking at the colors on it, I thought the colors were pretty true to life for what it really looks like right now. When you go out there, both in the photographs and in the video. Now, the video when I was going down, obviously the sun's up there, it's dark in the background and everything. And I understand all that stuff and I know why. All right. I get that. But like when I turned and I was away from the sun, I was getting some real good colors there. I mean, that grass was a good green. That's the way it looks right now. That water was actually that color, the houses, everything. So as far as the color profiles, I was pretty impressed with that. I mean, guys, for, $400 for this drone, okay, it's a no-brainer.
That's a great point, Bill, is that you have to put it in that context that it's a $400 drone. And at the end of the day, it's a ton of drone for the money.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when I had Billy on and we were talking about the Mavic Air 2, and, he's saying, that's like a little workhorse for him right now. He absolutely loves that drone. Okay. And, and this is what I would call a good alternative to a Mavic Air 2. Okay. If you can't afford the $800, okay, you probably can afford the $400 and get this. Okay. And still get, I mean, it's not going to be that level quality of video, but it's going to be pretty doggone close. Okay.
Will your Mavic Air 2 be going up on eBay?
No, the only thing that went on eBay and then it went very quickly was the Zino 2. So yeah, I had several people ask me that in the chat tonight. Where's your Zino 2?
Bill, I know you're probably under DNA. Are you testing out the Zino 2 Plus already?
It'll be here by Christmas, 2021.
So Bill, if I was going to rank bang for the buck on drones, the bottom would be the original Zino. The middle would be that Fimi X8 SE, and the next one up would be that the DJI Mavic Air 2, right? I mean, you get so much for your dollar with all three of those drones.
The value, and see, that's the one thing that I can't emphasize enough. And I've been chatting and I've been telling everybody's been commenting on my Fimi videos, and I've been telling them, I'm saying, should I cancel? And I'm like, wait. I said, it's worth the wait. It really is. Okay. Besides that, this thing is built well. I mean, it really is. It's solid. Okay. Now, the first thing I did, and this was because of you, Marcus, I checked these arms backwards and forwards. I looked at them very thoroughly to make sure there's no cracks or anything in that, because a lot of people have talked about it.
Every flight.
And I look at it all the time, and it was absolutely impeccable. I mean, one of the things, I did order some landing gear for it because this does sit kind of low, and so I got some gear coming for it. I did get a multi-battery charger. So I got my batteries. I'm supposed to get one battery in 2 more weeks, and the third battery in about 3 more weeks. Okay, It's Banggood ocean shipping. Okay, so go figure on that. My case is probably going to get here in about the same time. All right. Now I did go ahead and I got lucky. I had originally ordered this cover here, this Sunny Life cover through Banggood, and it was taking forever. And I'm like, okay, this is something I really need. So I found it on Amazon along with that multi-charger on Amazon. I got it, and I got a pretty good deal on the multi-charger from Amazon. So I was pretty pleased with that. And then I got that bag that you had talked about too, off of Banggood. And who knows when that's going to come. But definitely one of the things I want to tell everybody to get spare props. Get spare props and get them either from Banggood or AliExpress, okay? Because if you try to get them off of Amazon or eBay, you have no idea if they're OEM or not, okay? You want to get, and guys, you can't, I mean, you can get the Sunny Life covers all day long, landing gear, all right? But for props, you want OEM, okay? That's why I never even considered anything other than OEM props for any of my DJI drones because of that. It's just, I don't do it.
Hey, Bill, I'll also add one more thing to that. So on those props, always check that those studs are tight in there as well.
Oh, yeah.
I found them a little bit loose on brand new props before.
And that's one of the other things I did too. I got out my smallest Allen wrench. I mean, it just works enough. I was able to check to make sure, and they were all tight on all of them. So that was that's another good thing. And Marcus's checklist. Marcus, you prepared me well for this. I will say that.
Beginner guy. And Bill, we appreciate you so much for coming on and giving us that full review. And for everybody out there, we're trying to get Josh from Parts of Tex on next week, and he will kind of have a different review of the Fimi. And Bill did. His experience isn't quite as at the same level as Bill's is.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I've learned about this is, and you need to keep this, when you're flying these kind of drones, you need to keep this in mind. Okay. I pretend like I'm in sport mode on any of my DJI drones, and that means I don't have any obstacle avoidance. Okay. So I'm very cognizant of that. And that's one of the things you have to make sure you're cognizant and aware, because for those of us, who fly DJI and then we'll fly something like this, you're going from a drone with some level of obstacle avoidance to something without. And
great point.
And, pretend like and here's the way I do it. It's really easy. I just pretend like I'm in sport mode. Okay. Yeah. Now, one of the other things I did notice too, I got a little close to a hot tub, and there was draft. There was a downdraft. Okay. So when you land these kind of drones, okay, land them. Don't linger. Okay. When you go down, okay. Don't be taking a scenic view. Okay. Go down, get down there quick, because that draft will kick up. Okay. And that's how accidents happen, and that drone can flip over and stuff. So that's a word to the wise. When you come down, make your decision, come down. If you're on landing pad, fine. If you're not, land your drone, because otherwise you could create a hassle for yourself. I think you can tell from the clip we went over the good, the not so good, and my overall impressions of the Fimi X8 SE 2020. Question of the day. What do you think of the Fimi X8 SE 2020? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.
You know I want you close, maybe hold your hand a little while. Somehow I know you're gonna be the girl that I'll